really excited about seeing Begoña and Esther, and then we will see Andrés. They are colleagues from the Cibervoluntarios team, and we see each other practically during this event. So I'm really excited about seeing you here, and it's very exciting to see how you deal with these situations, because you work with European projects, and here you are carrying out these interviews. So congratulations, congratulations to our voluntarios, because it's really amazing to have you here and to see you every year. They're going to talk about iDEM. This project started this year in January, and it's an AI to open democratic spaces to vulnerable groups, about having more accessible information with people with reading and writing disabilities or intellectual disabilities. Here we have Horacio Saggion, who has a PhD in the field from the Pompeu Fabra University. We have Martin Gollegger with us too, with capito.ai.
As mentioned, they represent different organizations, but they both work in the field of AI, natural language processing, and text simplification. And as mentioned also, they are part of the iDEM project team, along with Fundación Cibervoluntarios, and we will be discussing more about this project later on. But first, well, this section is called Decentralization of Digital Spaces in Europe. So decentralization, it's about democratizing and opening up digital space to the most vulnerable people. And AI plays an important role in this. How come? Like, I'd like to know what are the main barriers or difficulties that these vulnerable people face when participating in digital spaces, and how AI can help these people to overcome these barriers.
Yeah, so our work is really focused on helping vulnerable people, and as you may can imagine, there are a lot of different groups who need to have accessible digital spaces to be part of society, take part in, for example, political discussions. And we need to make sure that the digital spaces are accessible for anybody. First of all, there are infrastructure measures. People need access to the internet. They need devices to access digital spaces, such as smartphones, laptops, and so on. And then, of course, also the digital spaces themselves must be accessible, and they must have accessible user interfaces.
Yes, I think that when we have artificial intelligence tools, sometimes we face the problems of, let's say, the interface. You have the interface. Sometimes these interfaces that big players prepare for the wall. I mean, they are not one solution fits all the needs. We struggle sometimes with accessing functionalities. We don't know what these functionalities are there for. That's one aspect. The second aspect is these interfaces obviously transmit content, and this content is available to everyone. But having the content does not mean that you can understand it. So making this content accessible for everyone is one of the things that we want to make here in this collaboration that we have with Martin and other partners. So the interface, but also what the interface transmits. So the content is very important, and we would like to make it accessible.
And regarding your question about the opportunities that AI brings on the table, it can really help the platform providers to cater the needs of people with, for example, vision impairment, people with hearing impairment, or people with learning difficulties. AI can be used for automatic subtitle generation, or for text simplification, making complex information easier to understand. So here, AI can make it easier for the platform providers to open up their spaces and make them more accessible for everybody.
That's really interesting. While listening to you, the following question came to my mind. You're a computer scientist. You work with technology that apparently has nothing to do with people. So at what point did you decide to put AI to the service of citizens, and what led you to make these decisions?
Okay. So yeah, indeed, I am a computer scientist. I mean, I've been doing all my career in computer science, but in undergraduate, when I was looking for a final degree project, at the time there was a topic that emerged at that time that was computational linguistics. And I said, wow, this is fascinating because, I mean, I am good at math, I'm good at computer science, but I am struggling with things like syntax, you know, spelling. And I said, oh, it will be fascinating, I mean, this topic, because we could create programs able to help you with your spelling, helping with your grammar, and well, now, I mean, you have all those things in your computer, right? When you write, I mean, there are suggestions, there are replacements that the machine suggests. Sometimes it's wrong, but in many cases it will be correct. You have Grammarly that helps you with your writing, etc. So I said, okay, I am a computer science, but I would like to develop applications that are useful for people. So that's a fascinating thing to do, not only to keep in your, close in your laboratory and developing a solution and then doing internal testing, but something that is useful for others.
Yeah, and at Capito we are doing text simplifications for over 20 years for a lot of different industries, and we started by translating text with experts, with humans, and we are still doing it with these experts, but it's just a scaling problem. I mean, ideally, all the information that you can read out there is accessible for anybody. It should be available in the language difficulty that fits your needs, that fits your language skills. And this is just so much text that you need technologies and AI to support experts, to support professional writers, but also in the future to support readers.
Okay, thanks. So indeed, information accessibility is fundamental to ensuring democracy and therefore that citizens can make informed decisions. As mentioned, language can be a barrier to that, and the project they are presenting today, iDEM, which stands for Innovative and Inclusive Democratic Spaces for Deliberation and Participation, aims precisely to promote the participation of vulnerable or marginalized groups with limited writing, reading and language comprehension skills into these digital spaces. So that sounds amazing, super interesting. So please, could you tell us more about this project, the objectives, where does the idea come from, and just share it with all of us?
Okay, yes. This project comes about a group of people who like to work on accessibility and text simplification, and also making spaces more accessible, and digital spaces in this case. And we come up with the idea of applying text simplification and related technology in order to make democracy more accessible. We know that in a democratic context, I mean, information is of paramount importance. Information will appear, let's say, in written form, also in a spoken form. Usually what type of information is there? I mean, you could have, let's say, the program of a political party can be very complicated to understand. It could be a debate in television, argumentative text, which can be very, very challenging for several people. The laws of a country, the laws where it is said what are your rights, what are your democratic possibilities. These are texts that in general are written by lawyers who don't have, let's say, accessibility as one of their main objectives. So this can be very challenging for several people, and we concentrate on particular, in general, we want to concentrate on people who have reading and writing difficulties. That obviously includes people that will have, let's say, some cognitive disability, but not necessarily, okay? Because we may struggle with writing and reading at any time in our life. And as we get older, we will need assistive technology. So this is for all, not only for specific types of population, yeah, specific sectors of the population. So the technology that we could develop could be of help for everyone at some point. And so we got with a bunch of partners, including Cibervoluntarios. So we have in the project several ONGs. We have also groups, associations for the welfare of people with disabilities that are our main contact points with our user group, with our users. We have universities, we have research institutes, we have Capito that is the leader on developing easy to read in Europe, and we have democratic institutions in the consortium, so a variety of players that will make, I am hoping, this project a success.
You want to add something?
No, this was really a perfect summary. Maybe only one thing, the group of people with learning difficulties, with low language reading or writing skills is sometimes not as prominent as other groups with some kind of disability. And I think you can't really make here a difference. It all the spaces should provide accessibility to all vulnerable groups, and of course, reading and language skills shouldn't be forgotten in this case.
Okay, so I have a last question for you. Horacio more or less answered it, but how are you planning to engage these vulnerable groups into the project? Because usually it's hard to reach them and also to get them involved. How is iDEM managing this?
Yeah, in the project we have, as I said, 3 organizations that care for people with disabilities. In general, they are nationwide, let's say, organizations, but also more local organizations, such as in Barcelona we have from the city council, we have an association as well. And yes, they are the ones who deal or connect us with our final users. So it's very important to have them because they know their needs, they know how to approach them, and they know what principles we need to design in order to work with them. So ethical principles, respect, and protecting them, make sure that what we will develop is will benefit them. That's the most important thing, that their participation is because what we are going to produce is for them. So this is absolutely important.
So I don't know if we have any question from the audience. Come on.
This one there.
Okay, you have one.
But it's not going to be in English, please. ¿Contemplan
Do you take into consideration foreigners in Spain? Are you considering people who are searching for a job here in Spain and who are from abroad?
In the use cases that we are going to prepare, we will involve also the elderly. So different groups that we think may struggle with access to information, let's say, in the languages of the project. The project will be in Spanish, Italian, and Catalan, and therefore a migrant may not have all the skills yet to digest this complicated information, and therefore they will need simplification.
More questions? No? Okay, so I have one.
Yes.
A project like iDEM raises important ethical and privacy issues. So how are you going to address these implications in the project? And what measures are planned to ensure the protection of data, especially for vulnerable groups that usually do not pay that much attention or are not concerned about this?
So within the project, we have a framework, an ethical framework. So we have our, let's say, principles. We follow the European principles on ethical procedures. We have also an ethical procedure, let's say, office or institution where we apply for in order to carry out our research. And if the research is correct, we will get approval to carry out the studies, the different studies that we need to do. Data protection is very important. So, for example, during interviews, obviously we need to collect some data that might be of personal characteristics, but these will be anonymized, and then obviously after some time it will be destroyed. But it's important to notice that in this project, we don't want to, let's say, monitor people to trace their behavior or to profile them. So that's not the objective of the project. The project objective is to facilitate access to information and participation. So nothing like we want to know the political opinion of, let's say, certain groups of people. So this is not the objective of the project. The project is making spaces accessible for discussion and for participation and consensus, probably. Yeah,
yeah, exactly. I think it's of utmost importance especially in the political domain, to let people openly voice their opinions, and therefore they must feel safe. They must be sure that their information is protected, can be private, and also we are developing AI solutions, but we are not planning in any way to pull away all the data and train the models on those inputs. Rather, some research endeavors in our project could also be making the AI output more explanatory, more transparent. So, yeah, but it's a very important topic in our project for sure.
Okay, so thank you very much, and you can please keep updated on this project because it just got approved. So we're starting to developing, and I want you to, yeah, sure.
No, just finish and I will say something.
No, go ahead.
Okay, so I would like to thank the organizers for this wonderful event, also Begoña for the interview, and also for the wonderful music and the poetry that was also on display. And thank you to Malaga, beautiful city. Thank you very much for having us. Thank you.